Doug Ward from Tech Britain. Today we're here with Paul and Sam from Screach. Thank you for your time, guys. Real pleasure. Just for our viewers back wherever they're watching this, can you just let them know a little bit about yourselves and about Screach?
Yeah. So my name's Paul Rawlings. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Screach. Screach is it's an interactive platform that allows anyone to create a two-way interactive experience between any mobile phone and any content on any screen. So effectively, from the TV in your living room to the screens in the high street, the doctor's surgeries, any screen, we can turn into an engaging experience. So users can we can turn the phones into quiz pads. So when you're watching TV, we know the phone knows what you're watching, and we'll turn it into an answer pad, a voting pad. We can turn it into a second screen experience where we can give you extra information. While you're listening to the radio, we can turn your phone into a mechanism to be able to talk to the radio show. When you're in the high street, we can turn it into a games pad. So this phone becomes the controller for these screens effectively. The screens for the first time understand exactly who their audiences are, and then the brands or the businesses that control that content can then reward their user with an offer or a discount to then drive that user to do something.
What else would you like to add to that?
That pretty much sums up what Screach is. To kind of give a little bit about myself, my name's Sam Morton. I'm the co-founder and chief commercial officer, so in charge of the commercial side of Screach and what we're doing here. Paul's background is technical. Paul created the technology. My background is actually content creation, so there's a good fit between us. He kind of came with the means of communicating with content, and my approach was much more the content side of it. So that's kind of how we came together.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I mean, just before we move on to any other questions, to let people know the big goal of Screach.
Yeah. So when we kind of set out and we developed Screach, kind of our whole vision and how we were measuring success was we're looking at a global opportunity, and our whole vision is to become a verb. So you don't search for anything anymore, you Google it. And kind of where we want to be is we don't want you to interact or engage with anything, we want you to Screach it. So that's how we're kind of defining success. We know it's a big vision, but we feel that we have a great team behind it to help us become that leader and that verb.
One of the key ways we're kind of doing that is we've created SDKs for our technology, so as well as the Screach application that we've built, because the platform will allow anyone to take the SDK, drop it into their existing app, and make their app fully interactive. Awesome. That way we can build a large network of users very quickly, and we've already started doing that with some pretty big customers both in the UK and in the US.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Just for our viewers, if they don't know, obviously you're an international company with offices in New York and Romania.
Yeah.
How's that experience been doing business on an international scale? What kind of problems have you had, and how have you overcame them?
Yeah, I think, there's 23 of us now, I think it is. So we've grown really quickly from me and Sam sort of sat there creating this thing to 23 people, and they're spread across Newcastle, London now as well, New York, Romania, and we've got ambition. We're looking again at sort of potentially another location as well. So kind of one of the things that one of the challenges when you start doing business, especially in the US anyway, is and other areas, there's cultural differences, which you have to kind of take into account. But secondly, there's communication as well. So our New York office, which I'm going up to next week, is 5 hours behind. But now we're working with customers in America that actually have a global presence. You find that certain areas of the States are a whole working day behind you. So actually dealing with those customers and giving them a service, providing them with the best service is a daily challenge. So you have to put mechanisms in place to be able to, one, communicate with your own staff, but secondly to be able to provide excellent customer service to your customers and your providers.
I think that's true. It's like a logistics issue more than anything else in terms of actually going over there, talking to people, getting business and stuff. I don't know about you, but I found it's quite straightforward, more straightforward than you might think if you've never done it before. Particularly in America, where they're incredibly open to new technology, You know, it's been quite straightforward getting customers over there and getting a presence over there by making sure we attend the right events. You know, we launched over there at the demo event in California. We spent some time in San Francisco. We went over to South by Southwest. So as long as you get around the main places, you can get and then keep it up.
Yeah.
It's not as difficult as it might appear. Logistically and legally and all that stuff, there's loads of stuff has to happen. But that's why you have accountants and solicitors.
And I think anyone who is looking to do that, you know, you need to spend the money to get it right on day one. You know, don't take cut corners in setting up entities. I mean, we employed our first American kind of the actual. It's an absolute nightmare to set that to be able to do that, and actually, you know, making sure that you set up the entity properly, and you also take good advice in setting that up so you can follow on with success. So, like, if we're set where the way we've structured our companies is set, so if we want to take American investment sort of further down the line, we can very easily. If we'd have taken the wrong advice, it could be an absolute nightmare to do that. And I think the other side of it is, if you are doing business in America, then the internet is a global place anyway, but actually it really does pay to have someone on the ground.
Definitely.
It really does pay.
You've got to show your face.
Yeah, you've got to show your face. You know, the big American customers we deal with, they want to deal with an American team.
That's interesting.
So, even though the internet is a broad place, you know, it is a global place by definition, this still is the logic where people do want to deal with locality.
We've spent a lot of time on planes in the last all over the world.
All over the world.
One thing I think is important, because you're obviously a very good British success and you're growing fast, and it's really encouraging to see. I think it's important to ask you your views on the government. Where do you see? Do you think they have a role to play in helping the tech community?
Yeah, I think the government. I think they do. They are starting to do. You know, they are doing a good job in certain areas. I think they could do things a little bit differently, which could enhance it. But things like we were part of an accelerator course, so based in Middlesbrough, just outside of Newcastle, and it was a government initiative. It was public money basically that funded the first one, and it was very forward thinking, you know. And I think things where we're encouraging businesses to start up, and even startups, you know, to kind of start up in areas. And then one thing that happens is these accelerator courses create networks, and networks, is like Sam said, is kind of where you find, you know, is one of the crucial things in success. Is surrounding yourself with great people, and these things can help do that. I think things like UKTI is again a fantastic body. It just needs to get out there a little bit more, promote itself a little bit more, put a public face on it, make it a little bit more accessible. I mean, there are lots of services that they provide, the fantastic services that probably people don't know about. I mean, we've been out to, we went out to Malaysia with UKTI, didn't we? We've been out to
San Francisco, Texas for South by Southwest. All that was UKTI aided, and they made introductions, and I think they're an excellent service. I was just going to say, I think it's quite, obviously it's a difficult time right now, and all of the RDAs have kind of, particularly in the Northeast, everything else is gone. But I think that's an opportunity for the government to kind of refocus how they help businesses. I think for a long time there's been a lot of businesses in all sectors that have relied on the kind of the handout side of it. You know, particularly in the media industry where my background was, there's a lot of businesses who kind of were getting grants after grants after grants, which is fine, but it's not a sustainable business. You know, it's not income if it's a grant, really. And I think there's a good opportunity to kind of refocus it in the way through accelerator programs and the like, where they're essentially investing in the teams that can prove that they want to do something. They don't all have to be successful, but taking that approach to kind of investing in them, starting up, helping them, accelerating them, rather than just saying, kind of going, there's a grant you can apply for to get yourself some computer equipment, and we can send somebody who's never run a business to advise you on running a business. And a lot of these things have gone on for a long, long time. So I think the government has a massive role to play. I think, as Paul said, some of the accelerator stuff, programs like this, brilliant stuff going on. Do you want to see more of that, and more kind of support for the teams that have a plan and have a way of doing it, rather than just there to
Yeah.
to get the cash.
Definitely.
Oh, fantastic, yeah, I agree. Obviously we're based in Newcastle, we're in Newcastle today.
Yeah.
How have you found Newcastle as a tech community? What would you say is its real strengths?
I think Newcastle as a tech community is, I mean, even as you've got tech and you've got entrepreneur, I think, and the kind of, they're merging together quite fast, but they're still separate. So I think, Newcastle has a fantastic entrepreneur focus. There are groups in Newcastle that bring the best entrepreneurs together on an annually basis and even on a monthly basis, and really provide a lot of support for entrepreneurs. And then you've got a lot of creative people that are looking at in technology sort of more than anything else that I know, because that's my background, but you've got a lot of creative people that are looking at new ways to share stories. So things like the Accelerator course, and you've got the Loft obviously, and Ignite and various other things. But great ways of creating a network and then sharing actually what's working and what's not working. I think it's there's a mentality shift where actually you're not competing against other people. You the sum of everyone working together is greater than you working individually. You can do a lot more by sharing, being open, and actually helping people. And I think Newcastle, especially technology, has got that down to a T. There's a lot of people, and the more people that come into the network, and the more people that come out of these accelerator courses, join that network, and you're creating this this body of people that do things. And that's a really powerful thing to have. And as other areas start doing this as well, the bodies start joining together, the networks start merging and becoming one, and you get a massive amount of people that actually are accelerating and doing things and creating interesting things and making people up and notice and organisations to help these people.
I think that's the kind of trick, really. It's adopting that kind of American approach of collaboration and sharing, and the people starting to hear about the whole group, whereas in the UK traditionally people are quite enclosed and they view everyone as a competitor, and they often miss opportunities, I think, particularly in the northeast, historically, where you kind of think, actually, if that media company merged with that tech company, or they got together and did that, they could take on the big agencies in London quite easily, and it's not that difficult. But traditionally, people kind of go, I want that bit for myself. So I think that's starting to come through, that American kind of approach. And I do actually think in the northeast, being kind of native from Newcastle, if you look back at the history of it, Paul sort of said the entrepreneur kind of attitude has always been here. We've always been quite good at whatever is kind of big and what's going on. I guess if you go back to like shipbuilding, it's a centre of kind of the global shipbuilding, coal production, all the kind of stuff traditionally associated with this region. The fact that technology is now one of the few kind of areas of growth in the world, it's the future of it. You kind of get that attitude applied to the technology, and it can grow and be quite big. And I think we're starting to see that. There's some brilliant entrepreneurs here. If you look at companies like Sage that came out of the northeast and stuff, there's not many listed tech companies, and one of the biggest came out of here. So it's a great place to be.
Yeah, you've got some fantastic businesses acting on a global scale.
Yeah.
And all from the north and Newcastle. It's great, really great place to be.
Awesome. Just one question to end, guys. Obviously, off camera, you was kind enough to let us around the offices and get a feel for the company. How do you maintain the culture on an international scale? I mean, that's got to be surely a big challenge.
Yeah, I think culturally we like people. We're a fun company. We're dynamic, and we're a young company. And I think very product focused company as well. So our whole focus is around product, and user experience is a big thing for us. And that's kind of what we try to get into all the people and everyone sort of that works at Screech, and kind of where we're going, and kind of creating a workplace where everyone feels part and parcel of the team and our journey. So even though we started Screech, early days, we feel that it's no longer our company anymore. It's everyone's company. So everyone's from Chris and Dave and David and Robin and Georgia. They all share in the same vision and the same goal and the same journeys that we're trying to achieve. And that's kind of really important for us. So every single person in Screech is a product advocate. You know, they can sit there, they love what they do, and that's really important for us.
I was just saying we work hard to make sure that we communicate very regularly. So everyone, as you saw this morning, we have a meeting every morning at 9 o'clock, just 10 minutes, where everyone talks about what they're doing for the day, what they've done the previous day, so we all know what's going on, we can all help each other out. And you know, if the guys are available, they're Skyping in from Romania, they're Skyping in from the US, Skyping in from London. So everybody is kept in touch. We don't want to be a business that kind of drifts, and very difficult when you've got one guy in New York to get him to make him feel part of the culture, but it's vital that works. And David's brilliant at it, at communicating with us all, despite he sometimes gets himself out of bed at like 5 o'clock in the morning to make sure he's in on those meetings.
Awesome.
And we work hard at that, though. It's not something that just is easy. You've got to work hard at creating a culture and maintaining it, and making sure everybody is focused, but enjoying it, because you don't get much out of people when they're not happy.
And we have structure, but we also encourage openness. So if someone feels that we can do something better, they can raise that. And we'll take that on board, or we'll look at that and we'll discuss it openly as a group and say, okay, why did we try this? Why didn't we try this? I mean, one of the recent things we put in is that we have a central communication tool. So it's a bit like a social network for enterprise, where every single person can see, and we're open with, so all the proposals and all the sales stuff, it's all open. You can see it on the boards in the office, all the targets, everything's open for everyone. All the product targets are all there. Everyone can feed into the network and comment on, on the sales proposals, on product proposals, on the product roadmap. Anything that people want to get involved within reason, we encourage.
Guys, I'd just like to say thank you very much for your time. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank
you very much.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. All the best.